I feel like influencers and content creators should just clip their mics onto the most unhinged thing they can find whenever they sit down to film. My contribution to this is a Pokemon card of Entei, who, when I was about 5 years old, imprinted on in that I pretended he was my dad because I was fatherless as a child, and I instead clung on to a fictional father. Molly was the blueprint. So I'm here today to talk to you about my August favorites, even though I've never done a video like this before, just because I want to. August freaking sucked. August was a bad month for me. There was a lot of seeking reprieve, respite in things. In things that were not related much to my mental health, to my work, to my personal life. No, we needed things outside of my corporeal self in order to make it through March. August. It was a time, as you can tell. So I have a little list and I'm going to read to you from that list. The first thing is these Beats Flex earphones. I had a $30 Apple gift card from like 5 years ago when I sold my Apple Watch back to Apple because it was giving me a rash. And then I had an iPhone SE. I switched from the iPhone SE to my first Samsung and I've never looked back. Basically, I was just holding onto that iPhone for absolutely no reason. So I offloaded all of the data onto it and I went to Apple Store and I sold it back. But all of the things that you sell back to Apple, they give you the money back in gift cards. So I plotted, I schemed. I knew I was going to get like $60 for that iPhone. And I was like, oh, conveniently, that would get me a pair of headphones from Apple. So I literally turned around this, like in the same minute that they gave me the gift card. And I was like, I would like to buy these headphones. Thank you. That's the story behind it that I felt like you needed to know. These are nothing special, but I've been loving them because I have very small ears. And because I have very small ears, traditional earphones like AirPods or the Samsung Buds fall out of my ears so easily. And I know you're thinking to yourself, you have to change the little plasticky part that you actually put inside your ear. I have used every single size in an attempt to find the perfect size that would actually fit my tiny ass ear, but nothing works. Nothing fits in because it's just so tiny. I found myself frequently losing earbuds. Like I wouldn't actually lose it. I would like watch it fall from my ear in terror as it like touches the concrete outside and be like, oh my God, so many dogs have probably shit there right now. And now it's all over the thing that goes in my ear. I got tired of that. I was tired of that. So I learned that they made headphones like this where it's still wireless. Like technically it's wireless. I don't connect this to my phone at all. It's Bluetooth connected to my phone. But if one of these little buds were to fall out, it falls out, but it gets caught by the wires that it is still connected to. And I love that. I have literally been using these every single day. It has been so nice not to have to worry about like, oh, if it falls out of my ear, it's not going to touch anything gross and I don't have to put it back in my ear with something gross on it. I mean, I would clean it first, but there's just a lot of peace of mind that comes with this. I will say the audio quality sucks. Crazy that Dr. Dre made this brand and the quality for the audio sucks. Like I would never use these to listen to music. I would much rather use my Sony's for audiobooks and for like I'm walking my dog. These are perfect and they don't give me as much stress as the truly wireless earbuds do. So, love these. Second thing, more of like a general idea. August favorite is reading your favorite author's favorite authors. So I went on this whole deep dive basically. After I was finding myself missing O Caledonia, I read O Caledonia again, and I said to myself, I cannot believe Elspeth Barker only wrote one book, this beautiful, amazing book that is like literally one of my favorite books of all time, and that's it. And so, what I did is I said, who was Elspeth Barker inspired by, and who has she inspired thus? And so I saw that Maggie O'Farrell had blurbed on the front. If Maggie enjoys O Caledonia, maybe I will enjoy Maggie. And I did. I read both The Marriage Portrait and The Vanishing Act or Vanishing the Disappearing, I don't know, something about disappearing of Esme Lennox. And I really like them. They're not exactly the same feeling, same writing style. I was like, this is kind of like, I would put them in the same genre. I had the same interest. It's not exactly the same, but it's way closer than me trying to like grasp in the dark for something similar to O Caledonia. So, highly recommend, if you have a favorite author, check out their favorite authors or authors that have been inspired by them because you're going to find some sort of like similarity that will get you close enough to the thrill that you get from your favorite author. And then historical fiction about real people. This is kind of like related to it because I read Maggie O'Farrell's books, which are historical fictions about real people who existed. And then also I read the entire Wolf Hall trilogy by Hilary Mantel. Chef's kiss. I love Hilary Mantel. It devastated me to find out that she passed away 3 years ago, which means we will not be getting any more books from her. But the good news is she has a very impressive backlog, so I won't be totally without new content from her. It'll just all be new to me. Hilary Mantel and Maggie O'Farrell both had this very common thread of writing historical fiction about real people. And what I like about that more is that it is undoubtedly harder to write a story about people who existed because there are people who like are literally experts in, for example, Henry VIII. Like their entire life is researching and talking about Henry VIII. And so when you're writing a novel about that era of English monarchy, you are going to be under intense scrutiny for accuracy and whatnot. But that Hilary Mantel could take that in like very, very complex time with a lot of different characters and a lot of different moving parts and make it a very compelling story is a feat in and of itself. Like I have watched and read my fair share of content regarding Tudor era England, but this was what felt like a fresh take in following Thomas Cromwell through it. And by giving these very unique and almost modern day voices to those characters, that made it very digestible. And I just think that was so masterful. Personally, can't see that being a particularly easy feat. So I was just really impressed by that. And then the same thing with The Marriage Portrait by Maggie O'Farrell. Like so much of it is based on the actual history that we know about. I think her name is Lucrezia. She was able to, in the spaces where we don't know things, create this very real character that you empathize with and you want to reach for and hope the best for. Like that just feels incredibly masterful. Like, sure, she didn't world build, she didn't come up with a whole magic system, but to take existing material and create some fiction out of it, chef's kiss. Don't know why, but I was on a kick with that in August. On that note, and also kind of related to your author's favorite authors, author cohorts. I don't know if cohort is the right word, and maybe it's just a cohort in my mind, but I've been noticing that I've been gravitating towards like groups of authors where I'll just in a month read everything that I can by this like group of authors. So when I was reading the Mary Shelley biography, it was reading Mary Shelley, Percy Bysshe Shelley, Lord Byron, and then with reading Hilary Mantel, I was also reading Maggie O'Farrell, O Caledonia. It's like that was another cohort. Then with Akang Pinoy, we had the classic Filipino literature cohort of Jose Rizal and then Jose Garcia Villa. There's just like so many connections when you think of authors in these groups. I don't know if this is probably just an issue for me and maybe a handful of other people, but it's so easy to think of art, literature, history as siloed things, right? Especially because we're like only experiencing it in the that moment of us like actually consuming the work. But in reality, in that moment, like we're experiencing now, like there's a lot of influences, whether that's other authors of that time or the historical context. There's just so much more to the books. It feels like the books are even richer when you take into account the history and the context and all of the other things going on, and to juxtapose similar things, similar authors, similar stories together. I think it just adds like a layer of richness. Or at least that's been my experience this year, and I really hope to continue with this. Like, I think even earlier this year, I had like a modern day Irish author kick where I was reading like Nisha Dolan, Sally Rooney, Rachel O'Donoghue. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing, and I highly recommend it if you're at all interested and understand what the hell I'm talking about. Now we're gonna get less serious, less bookish. Frozen grapes. So I am a girly who is very easily prone to heat stroke, overheating, blah blah blah. If it gets over like 22 degrees Celsius, 75 degrees Fahrenheit for my American girlies, I sweat. I'm just so hot and sweaty and unhappy. And so you can imagine the summer in Southern California is not my favorite time. And why I live in Southern California when I have this issue is a different conversation for a different time. This summer, struggle busing, but struggle bus a little less than previous summers because I discovered frozen grapes. This is nothing new. In fact, I think like Asian people have been freezing their grapes since time immemorial or something like that. For the past 3 months, there have always been a pack of grapes in my freezer. And every time like I come back from a walk with my dog or I've done some chores and gotten really like warm, or in the afternoons when my apartment decides to become an oven, I will break out my frozen grapes and it will cool me down. I said walk and my dog sprinted in from the other room. It will like sufficiently cool me down. I will be many steps removed from a heat stroke if I just eat a bunch of frozen grapes and sit in front of the fan for like 5 minutes. Do you have anything to say? The next thing is, oh, you're making this difficult already. The next thing on my August favorites list is connected to my Hobonichi Techo. Oh, is connected to my Hobonichi weeks, which I'm using for my list. Okay, the Platinum Curitas. 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 You can read it. This is a retractable fountain pen. I got it in the extra fine nib. I got this because I discovered that I love retractable fountain pens. I have two of the Tech ones. I am too broke to get a Pilot Decimo or Vanishing Point. I did find a good deal on this and I wanted to try it out. I know I like platinum nibs. I know I like platinum extra fine nibs. So I was like, oh, I have a retractable pen, an extra fine, and it's affordable. Let's go for it. And I really enjoy it. The one gripe that I have, as you can see, is there's a little quirk when it comes to where I hold it. So there's like this like plastic thing that juts out right about here. I don't know how well you can see that, but basically there's a plastic thing that juts out and it conveniently is placed right where my finger would be when I'm writing. So I had to fix that because it was not comfortable to write with that. And so what I did is I just rolled on a bunch of washi tape. It's a bunch of Muji washi tape to make a fake little grippy section thingy that makes it so that the bump doesn't stick out as much. It's more of like a smooth space rather than a very drastic bump. And so now it's a pleasurable writing experience. A pleasurable, pleasant writing experience. I can English sometimes. I use this exclusively in my Hobonichi Techo. Why do I keep saying Techo? I've never had a Techo. I've only ever had a Weeks. I've been using this in my Hobonichi Weeks. The size of the nib is perfect for the tiny ass boxes in the Weeks, so love that. Last favorite from August, which is heavily bleeding into September, is Etrian Odyssey. This is a Nintendo 2DS, 3DS game series. It's a franchise as well that I discovered in like late August, but it has very quickly consumed my life. It is a Japanese RPG, and the big main thing that you are doing within the game is you're taking out a squad of characters that you customize, and you are mapping out dungeons. I hate dungeon crawlers. I think that they're pointless, and I very quickly get bored with them. However, when I learned for this game that you actually map the dungeon yourself. I was like, that I can get on with because I am a girly who loves documentation. Making a map sounds like just my jam. And it is just my jam. So this is what the game looks like. I've been playing it on my 2DS, my very sad 2DS. I wish I had a 3DS, like a big 3DS, but instead I have this little fucking door wedge. But anyway, that's what the game looks like. Like, look at that. Isn't that neat? You like on the top screen, you adventure around, and then on the bottom screen, you write out the map. It's so much fun. And then the character design of the characters that you can make is fabulous. I have spreads in my gaming journal. The gaming journal has come out of retirement because I had to print out and appreciate the art and the character design for all of the classes in Etrian Odyssey across the franchise because every single game pretty much has different classes and different characters. They're just so good every time that I had to print them out. I had to like memorialize them. They're just so good. If I go MIA for days at a time, it is because I have probably discovered a new stratum in whatever Etrian Odyssey installment I am playing at that moment. I will be hyper focused on that. It is just so much fun. I have not tired of it yet. I don't know that I will tire of it anytime soon. If you are interested in playing these games, and you don't have one of the old Nintendo DS systems, it is available with a remake version, I believe, for Nintendo Switch where you get the first 3 games. I will say, the first 3 games are so freaking hard. There's a lot of like grinding, like mindless grinding that you have to do in order to basically continue with the game. Whereas I'm finding with 4 and 5, there's enough like quality of life implementation that it's not so difficult to progress through the story. Like I'm progressing much faster in 5 than I have with any of the other games. So I will warn you that if you do try to play the Switch ones, they are much more difficult. Do with that information what you will. Can't say I didn't warn you, but I still do highly, highly recommend this franchise if you're into dungeon crawlers or if you're not into dungeon crawlers, but the idea of creating maps from a dungeon sounds cool to you. Those are my August favorites. Thank you for letting me yap for however long this video has gone. Can I promise these kinds of videos in the future? Absolutely not. I disappeared for like 4 months just now. I make no promises ever when it comes to content. But did I enjoy making this video? Absolutely. I love talking about things I love. I also love talking about things I hate. So if you want to hear my outs, I've got a lot of outs, but I'll save that for another time. Thank you for coming to listen to me yap. I hope you have a good rest of your day and a good rest of your week. I'll see you next time. Bye.